Okay, guys, so this is the box that the loom is coming to customers. This is the extra, how you call those? Extra finger? I don't know how you call it. So here's the loom. And the loom is folded in two. So we are unfolding it. And depending how big your blanket will be, you can use like this part of it, or you can use the whole thing, okay? So it's enough to make a big blanket, but today I actually will show you just how to start and how to do it, okay? How to knit on the loom. You're actually doing hand knitting, you're mostly using the loom just to hold your stitches, okay? So I came up with 3 different ways of casting on or making the first row of stitches. So if you follow me, you know that I usually start with just making a loop like that. Let me push it and I will hold on. Okay, like that. So this is the working yarn, the tail, and then working yarn goes on the top to make a loop. Then you insert your hand inside the loop, grab working yarn and pull in this part up and these 2 strings together down. Okay, so here is the first loop or the first stitch. So now you can pull it down to make it smaller. And for the base row, I would suggest you make them a little bit bigger than the rest. So then this is my first way of casting on the loom. You place this first stitch on the dowel, and then you simply making a loop like that. See? You insert in yarn here and then you're taking it out on from here, kind of like twisting it around the dowel like that. And then let's say we will make 8 stitches, 3, 6, 7, 8. So the last stitch you will need to make actually kind of secure, because if you will just keep it like that, it will fall off when you start knitting. It will not hold. So what we'll do, you're making the stitch the same way, only this time you're putting this yarn, working yarn through to make a real stitch, and then you are placing it on the dowel here, over here. See? So we just cast it on, and I'm casting on just a few stitches to show you how to do it. And what I'm doing next, knitting on the loom, you're basically taking off the stitch, you're knitting it with your hands. So you're inserting finger inside the stitch, grabbing working yarn, pulling it out, and then you're placing back on the loom. That's how it works. So here, the next stitch, I'm pulling it off. My fingers here, grabbing it, like pulling it on your finger. Then working yarn goes inside, then through, you made a stitch and you place it on the loom. See, you just make second stitch of this row. So here we'll go again. Let me show again. So the yarn is here, stitches come off and you're putting it on your fingers right away, grabbing yarn, pulling it through and placing it back. So this is how this first, and I would say the easiest way of casting on works. And it's actually looking pretty nice on the bottom when I tried it. So I will finish the row. Here we are. And then this is our last stitch. So knit it, place it back. So it's actually, let me show you on the side, looks pretty nice on the bottom. See, it looking like a little snake. So that will be the bottom of the blanket if you cast on this way. So now let's take it off and we will try another way. So I'm keeping this original stitch. And in this case, you can either place it like that and then make a loop through this loop. See what I'm doing? This yarn goes inside, and then you're placing it on the next stitch. And then you on the next stitch, on the next double, I'm sorry, like that. And then again, this is the opening. You're pushing yarn through, and you're taking next stitch out. So you can place it this, not this way. You need to place it like kind of like twisting it. Because if you place it this way, and then you will start making next stitch, it will kind of fall out. Well, actually, no, it's working. Okay, let's put it this way. So again, go inside, grab working yarn, pull it out, place it on the dowel. Okay, so this is a second way of doing it. And this way. Yep. Here you go. That's how you do it, guys. So it's very simple, pretty simple way too. See, you're just making the initial loop, and then you after you're done with the stitch, insert your working yarn, make a stitch, and pull it and push it on the dowel. The same with the last stitch, though. I would make it this way, but then you would need to go through this stitch to make the first stitch and place it on the dowel, the same as we did with the first way of casting on. So take off the stitch, put it on your fingers, grab working yarn, make the stitch, second row, place it on the loom, and then the same way for all other stitches. So this way will not give such a beautiful bottom of the blanket, but it will not be too bad. So if this way is easier for you, you can keep doing it this way, okay? So, and then you're just knitting, placing next rows, and it will be just going this way. So here is the bottom of the blanket, how it will look like. Not too bad. And one more third way to cast on. Again, you're making the first stitch like that, like if you're knitting without the loom, then you're placing it on the dowel. Oh, no, I'm sorry, this one is different. So in this case, I was doing this way. I was casting on in my hands like I would be doing with hand knitting, like knitting without the loom. Let's see, 6, 7, just a few stitches to show you. Okay, so here is the cast on chain. So what I would do next, I would flip it on another side, because I want this chain to be on the bottom of the blanket. It's kind of like the trickiest way to do it. But so now when you're on another side, take this first stitch, place it on the loom, and now we will be using the middle part of the stitch, not the top, not the bottom, the middle part. So separate it, find that middle part. See, this middle part is on your finger, and then place it on the loom. So this is the next one. This is the top part, bottom part of the stitch, and the middle part, place it on the loom. And this is kind of advanced way of casting on for knitting on a loom, but this one is actually why I like it, because here it is. See, this is the beautiful chain on the bottom of the blanket that you will have when you're done with your blanket. Knitting will be the same way as with two previous ways to do it. So take off the stitch, insert your fingers, grab working yarn, pull it out, and then place it back on the loom. Some people are knitting this direction. I I created hand knitting style back in 2015, and I prefer knitting that direction, so I'm doing the same on the loom, taking it, making a stitch, placing it, and then the blanket will go knitted this way. Okay, so here we are. So this is our first row after casting on. And this, as I said, this is the most advanced way of casting on if you really want your blanket have that beautiful chain on the bottom. But as I showed you, the other two would look pretty nice too. So here is the next row, guys. The same way you take off the stitch, you knit it, you place it on the loom. Take off, and here's your finger catching it, place it on the loom. And then keep doing this way until you have the length of the blanket that you want. And then I will come back and I will show you how to, actually before I leave, I want to show you one more trick. When I'm hand knitting without the loom, I am skipping the first stitch. See, it looks very nice when it's knitted already. So you can actually skip the first stitch on the loom too, and then this will give you this beautiful chain on both sides, because you will skip on the first stitch of every row. Like here, this is the first stitch. What we will do, the yarn, you take the stitch and you move the working yarn to the second stitch, and you're placing it back. You're not knitting it. And then you are taking off second and you're knitting it. Okay? And then you keep doing it until you're done with all your stitches, with all your row. And then make sure to knit your last stitch. Last stitch in every row must be knitted. See, this is the last stitch. Here we are. So now when we're turning and going different direction, we will do the same. We'll take our stitch, we will move working yarn to the second dowel, and the stitch just go back on the dowel. You are not knitting it, because this will give you this chain on the side. And then you keep knitting, starting from the second stitch. Here we go. So it's a pretty great tool, this wooden loom, for novices, for people who are just starting chunky knitting or knitting with chunky Chenille yarn, because this way you will not lose any stitches, and stitches will be nice and formed. They will be on the same level, because number one mistake what happened to people who are just starting, they are making stitches bigger, smaller, and the blanket doesn't look as good. So here, that's how you do it. See this beautiful chain on the bottom? And so I will keep doing it until I have like a little piece to show you how to cast on, and then I'll come back. Okay, guys, so I needed the little piece as a sample, and I want to show you the difference. So here is the part where I was skipping the first stitch. See this nice chain that we have here? This is because I was skipping first stitch. So this is the left side, and this is the right side. It gives you very nice, beautiful chain. If you're knitting the first stitch, that's how it will look like. So if you like it this way, that's absolutely fine. It kind of like a ribbon, interesting way to have on the side. See this side too. This is if you knit the first stitch, and this is if you don't. Okay, so now we can cast off. And for casting off, what we will be doing? So we're taking stitch 1 off on your finger, on our finger, and then second one, 2 together. And now we are knitting them together, 2 stitches, and working yarn goes through those 2, like that. And then we are taking off second stitch, we're knitting them adding them to the first one, and we are knitting them together. So you can see that literally we're not using the wooden loom for casting off. We're using only our hands. The fingers sitting inside the last stitch, at the second stitch or next stitch, grab working yarn, pull it out. And that's how we will do the whole casting off, finishing this blanket or our sample, and that will give you this beautiful chain on the top. Here we are. So last 2 stitches, knit them together, and then I will cut the yarn. I will burn it to prevent unraveling. I will place this tail inside the stitch and pull. And here's how we finished our blanket. And now this tail will go underneath this chain, in and out, and then on the back. And then here you can just tuck it in. You can sew it, and then other way you can actually burn it. My burner is dead. Anyway, you start burning it, and then you just attach it to the yarn and hold it until it attaches. And this way it will burn into, this end will burn into the stitch, and that will not go anywhere. So this is the other way to do it. Okay, so that's how we are using this beautiful wooden loom, guys. As I said, you can purchase it at the Shiloh online boutique on Etsy. You can also go on our website. We have a link to the directly to go to their website or store on Etsy. They're making also amazing holders for the yarn, so check it out. And if you like the loom, comment below. The yarn for the to use with the loom is always BeCozi.com, BeCozi.net. Stay warm and BeCozi. Hey guys, Larissa with BeCozi.net is here. I would like to introduce you my second book. The second book, Hand Knitting 102, it was published on November 25, 2025, and it's available to purchase on our website BeCozi.net, BeCozi.com. It's also available on Amazon. It's also available on Amazon as a downloadable version if you want, a Kindle. And if you want the real book, it's available again on our website and on Amazon. In this book, I am showing new patterns and a few old patterns. It's as usual, it's very detailed, it's very easy to understand what I'm doing. Very unique patterns where you can, those that you cannot find anywhere else. And again, this book is available. Go get it. And this is the best gift for yourself or your loved one.